Hi, my name is Khalid Al-Badri. Welcome to my presentation about Satellite-6. Satellite-6 is a full systems management solution provided by Red Hat. So to connect to the console, I just need to use the browser. I'm gonna log in as admin here. Okay, I'm gonna also open two sessions. The first session to connect to my satellite system, as administrator again. I also have a client machine which is registered to my satellite server already, so I'm gonna open a terminal to that client as well. Cool. Okay, so this is my satellite server. The first thing I will start with is the content. So with satellite I can synchronize content from Red Hat network. So if I look at the repositories I have in my satellite here, before looking at anything in my satellite server, first I need to specify which organization or location I'm using, because Red Hat Satellite-6 allows you to manage multiple organizations and locations. So that's why I'm getting permission denied here, because I have first to specify which department or which OPCO or which branch of my company I'm gonna use to look at the information. So in my example, I have defined one organization that I'm calling default organization. This could be any type of organization, and I have a location that I'm calling default location. So that's my default organization, default location. This is the content that I can download from Red Hat network. So if I look at Red Hat Enterprise Linux server, I have synced 3 channels already, those that I'm gonna need for my presentation. So I have Red Hat Enterprise Linux 6 server kickstart, Red Hat Enterprise Linux 6 server RPMs, so this is the core channel, and I have also Red Hat Common, which I'm gonna need for the rest of my presentation. So of course syncing content, it's very easy. You just need to select the channel that you need and check the box. For example, if I check the box here, then it will start syncing. As I said, these 3 channels have been synced already. If you want to see the status of the sync, make sure that everything is alright. So if I go here to sync status, and as you can see, I have syncing complete for these 3 channels. Of course, if I want to check for the delta to get the updated packages, I can sync the channels again anytime. So syncing is doesn't only apply to Red Hat content. It could be coming from a third-party vendor. It could be my own content. And as you can see here, for example, I have another channel that I'm calling WordPress packages, which I'm obviously gonna use for the rest of my presentation later on. But this is not Red Hat content, this is my own content. Okay, so syncing could happen also at different times or with different plans. So I can have a sync plan where I can tell my satellite to basically go and update my channels every night, for example, at 1 a.m. or at any other point of time. So I just need to create a new sync plans, provide information about the date and time, and then Satellite will take care of my content download. Okay, so let's talk now about managing hosts. So as I said, I already have a client which is registered to my satellite server. So if I go to content, if I go to hosts, and sorry, it's in, where is it? So content hosts. So this is my client. It's called client.example.com. It's running rel 6.5. It's part of my dev environment. If I click on my guest, I will see lots and lots of information. So hardware attributes. So as you can see, this is a virtual guest. This is the name. It's running rel 6. Part of my dev environment. It has a valid subscription. This is the content host status when it was registered, when it was last checked in, the IP address configuration, the different network interfaces, the architecture, and many information that I can get here. Of course, I didn't have to fill in these information. As soon as I register my system to the satellite, all these kind of information get populated directly to my satellite server. Okay, so let's go to this client, and let's, for example, run few commands from here. So things I can do, and this is just to show you that this is very similar to what we do when we register a system to Red Hat network. So for example, let me list the consumed products or subscriptions for my system. So a product is basically a set of repositories that entitles the system to register to. So in my example here, I have two products. So the first product is called satellite class. So we can think of this as a product or as a subscription, which will unlock a set of repositories. And they have another one which is called Red Hat Enterprise Linux Server Standard. Okay, so things I can do, for example, since I know that my system is can have access to these different repositories, first I can look what repositories these products or subscriptions are bringing to me. So the subscription manager repos should list available repositories, and as you can see here, I have two repositories, both are enabled. I can, for example, let's say I want to disable one of these repositories. I can at any time enable extra repositories or disable existing repositories. So for example, subscription manager repo -- disable, and I'm gonna take the common one. Done. So if I list the available repositories again, as you can see, for my common repo, it's not anymore enabled, so I don't have access to the content anymore. Okay, so let me enable it back first. Okay, and then I can use yum just to get access to the packages, download or install or remove a few packages. So for example, I can just say yum search screen, for example. Screen should be available from the rel 6 repo channel. So if I just say yum -y install screen, then my system is installing packages. Of course, here I'm not I don't need internet connection. I'm not downloading and installing the package from Red Hat Network. I'm just installing the package from my satellite server. Okay, so basically running commands, it's very similar to what we do with Red Hat Network. But what is the extra features that we can get from satellite? So the extra features or extra flexibility we actually get from the console. So if I go back to my client from the graphical interface, for example, talking about errata and packages, I know this is a pain point. This is one of the biggest drivers to adopt systems management software. So for example, if I go to my client, I have errata tab here, and this will take a moment to refresh. And as you can see here, this is the list of all available errata for my system. Now we have different types of errata. Errata could be bug fixers, it could be enhancement errata, it could be security errata, depending whether you are following some ITIL best practices. You might have different policies for applying patches. So you might, for example, apply emergent or important security errata as soon as they are released. So you can be proactive or you can be reactive for other types of errata, like for example enhancement or bug fixers. So with satellite-6 we can very quickly and easily identify the available errata. So for example, if I just want to see the security errata, I can just type security and here will show only security errata. Now if I want to install some of these errata, I just need to, for example, pick those that I want, check the box. Let's say for example I want to install these errata about OpenSSL and the LZO. So apply selected, and this should push these errata into my system. So on the meantime, I will just check the current version of LZO. So this is one of the packages I'm actually updating. So I'm basically updating OpenSSL and LZO, and so the current version, it's the updated version is 2.03, 3.1, etc. Let me see for if OpenSSL was updated already or not yet. Yes, so this was done. So as you can see, operation is successful. I'm getting access to the latest packages. Of course, I still can do things the old way. So for example, if I go back to my available errata, from my client, I can, for example, okay, I can say yum update, then minus advisory, then for example take one of these advisories. Okay, and this should update my system with the related packages. Okay, so of course if you have tens or hundreds or thousands of servers, you wouldn't connect to each one and just update them manually. It's much easier to apply these operations from the satellite graphical interface or through the API. Now let's talk about different things. So let's talk about products. I already introduced products. I said a product is a set of repositories. Whenever we register a system to a product, then that unlock access to these repositories. So adding custom software to satellite-6 involves adding a product. And satellite-6 uses the concept of products, each of which can contain many repositories. An example of a product might be a monitoring suite like HP OpenView, for example. HP OpenView itself may have a few RPMs, but some of its dependencies may lie outside of RHEL. Another example, it could be, for example, let's say you have some Dell hardware and Dell provides RPMs, including drivers and libraries for some of its various hardware. In these cases, there may be multiple YAM repositories that could be useful. In many cases, organizations may have existing processes to create and populate YAM repositories. For example, an automated process that builds an internal RPM and makes it available in a YAM repository. The good news is that Satellite can automatically sync YAM repositories. So if you create your in-house applications, you can populate them directly into your Satellite. We will now create a product that we're gonna call Satellite class. This product will contain some Puppet modules that we're gonna use later on. So if I go to content products, you will see that I have already two products, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so I do have actually more. I do have Red Hat Enterprise Linux Server, Red Hat Software Collections. As you might guess, these come from Red Hat Network, but I have two extra products that are called Satellite class and WordPress. So if I, for example, if I choose Satellite class and I go to the repositories, there are two types of information that I can find here. So I can find RPMs or packages, but I can also find Puppet modules. So in this example, I have two Puppet modules, which I can show you here. So I have a module that is called Message of the Day. This is the famous etc message of the day that displays information whenever your users log into the system. And they have another module that is NTP. So this is useful if I need to automate the configuration of the NTP servers inside all my systems. Okay, so in other words, any system that will be registered to this product, which is called Satellite class, will have access to these two Puppet modules, plus any RPMs or packages that come with the product. Okay, I can look at different product. So if I go, for example, again to my products, so I have another product that I'm calling here WordPress. And WordPress has 8 packages. So these are the packages that are needed by WordPress. So it's mainly Apache, PHP. And I have also Puppet modules. Okay, WordPress, and as you can see here, I have 5 Puppet modules. So some of them are about MySQL, firewall, some others like stdlib are needed as dependency for some other modules. Okay, so now let's talk about a different thing. So let's talk about content view. So what is a content view? So satellite-6 is very unique in that it was created with lifecycle management as a first-class citizen. In satellite-5, software lifecycle management was achieved via applying process to the technology available. So we used to do some channel cloning via defined human automated process. In satellite-6, we make this process much easier and more straightforward. So in satellite-6, software lifecycle management is built in to the system via the lifecycle environment. Okay, so for example, if I go to my lifecycle environment, as you can see here, I have three different environments. So library is the default environment. If we need to relate this to the ITIL syntax, so this is your definitive library media. This is where you will put your images that are restricted for to be used. Okay, then you can add your staging environment. So in this example, for the simplicity of the demonstration, we do have only two, development and production, but of course this could be more or less. So it could be dev, test, QA, pre-prod, prod, and so on. And so looking at this page, we see that out of the box we have a defined lifecycle environment path. Okay, that begins from the library. Now, if we talk about content views and definition, content views can be a little difficult to explain at first, but they are a concept that customers have essentially been asking for a while. With satellite-5, it was often very difficult to create a channel that contained specific software as a subset of the original channel. Okay. Additionally, it was difficult to deal with parent and child channels as a group when it came to cloning or not cloning. Now, content views aim to change all of that by providing intelligent options for filtering RPMs, Puppet modules, and more. So let's look at a view that initially contains our message of the day module and the required rel products. Okay, so if we go to content views, and we should have a content view that is called rel6 SOE. So within rel6 SOE, as you can see here, I have a list of packages. So of course these packages are inherited from Red Hat channels, from Red Hat network, but I have two different versions here. So what happens if I want to add or remove some of these packages? So whenever I do any modification, I just need to promote the new version of my channels here, and satellite-6 will take care of the management of these different versions. So here you can see that version 2 of the content is already published, and it's published to a specific environment. So this version is published to the library and to my development lifecycle. A published content view essentially makes rel6 server available to systems that are attached to the library environment and configured to use this view. But how do we make this content available for systems in development or production? Content is made available in downstream or later lifecycle environment via content view promotion. So the concept of promotion of a content view is closely tied to the software lifecycle and the concept of lifecycle environment path. So in theory, each lifecycle environment comes chronologically after the one before it. For example, you've got library, then you've got development, and then you got production. our rel 6 SOV has already been promoted in development here, as you can see, and our previously registered system is attached to the development environment as well. So if you remember the system that we have, the client .example.com was part of the development environment, which means that that guest will have access to all the content that has been promoted from version 2 of our software. Okay, so let's say we need to do any modification here. For example, we just need to press promote, and then we can decide where to promote our software. Of course, in my example here, I did not modify anything, but if I just promote it, then it will be added to that specific environment. Okay,